Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Chance Ellison. Joining me, for my co-host, Mike Deacon, and subbing today, Jacob London could not make it. Luckily, this dude was around. From What Movies, it is Matt Thomas. Matt, thanks for coming back, man. I know it's a short note.
Anytime I get to just come on camera and yell at you for you being a Steelers tip rider is fine by me. I still got a bone to pick with you over your rating.
I've seen your list. You can't tell me anything about what I'm doing.
Difference is I have stats and analytics to back up my lists.
There's one that I'm very, very fascinated to hear you talk about. But yes, in case you didn't read the title of the episode, we talked about the top 100 last week. It was an interesting list to say the least, but this week we are putting our money where our mouths are, and we are doing our own composite list for the top, the top players at each position. We don't get to the full 100. We got like 80. So I feel like I feel like next year, like our own top 100 would be like a very like interesting challenge to undertake. I don't know if we could do it. I feel like we could do it, but definitely
you need to bring on you need to pull all the people you've brought on the show for that to get a better composite.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. I feel like the composite for this is vastly different than what it would be if we did get Blundin's picks. But we will talk about that later.
Jacob's picks would have been so off the wall.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm fascinated to hear his take on our list when we get to it. Before we do any of that, we got some stuff to talk about today. Not a lot of stories we're talking about, but we do have a couple things to get into. One of which, it's a story we haven't talked about yet, but we do need to mention it. Netflix's Quarterback. Netflix dropped this new football docuseries called Quarterback, in which it followed three quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota, which is like such like a weird spectrum of talent right there. Where it's like, yeah, okay, huh? Like, yeah. Why are we... but yeah, I haven't seen the show. Mike, you have. So
I have.
Oh, you both have. Okay, so
I just finished it like 2 days ago, actually.
Okay, so like just give your quick thoughts on Quarterback, then we'll talk about like what I actually want to talk about this show.
So real quick, Quarterbacks actually, as someone who, when I heard about the show, I put it off for weeks until I finally gave it a shot because it's the dead time. There's nothing on television really. And hey, we got to get used to that because strikes are going on. So find something to give a shot, people. Just want to say that. But I was pleasantly surprised. Patrick Mahomes' wife is annoying as all get out.
Yeah, no, we knew that. We knew that going in.
But overall, you got to see a real human side of these people. And I got to say, one thing I probably learned that I never would have expected is for as much money that he makes, you would not know it because Kirk Cousins is a frugal motherfucker.
Is he really?
He lives in it's a nice house, but it's modest.
Yeah. And like Chance, his main television screen, maybe like a 35-inch TV.
Really?
Yeah.
So I have a bigger TV than Kirk Cousins?
It's insane. I'm just like...
That's funny.
Part of the reason I checked it out is Cleveland Sports Radio hosts were talking about it when it first dropped, and they're like, yeah, did you see how small Kirk Cousins' TV is? I'm like, it can't be that small. I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my god, it really is that small.
Okay, so
he doesn't drive an expensive car or anything. He has a van.
No, he still drives a van that he's driven since high school. Like, this dude is frugal, and it's like the player that the media gives you in general is like, yeah, he's a fun guy, very God-fearing man. You got to respect that about him and his faith, even if you aren't someone who is of faith. But like, you out of all the quarterbacks they showed, he was probably the one I'm rooting for the most out of all of them. Mahomes has done enough. Marcus Mariota just made me care about him even less.
Well, and it's funny if you watch Quarterback and then happen to have watched this most recent Eagles preseason game
against the Browns.
Yikes! He looked bad.
I'll circle back to that in a second. I do want to talk to you, Matt. So the reason I bring Quarterback up is because Netflix, like as big of a smash hit this was, Netflix and Peyton Manning and Company, because Peyton Manning does produce the show, they're having a hard time finding willing participants for season 2.
False. That's so. A report came out about a week or so ago that basically stated it's not true. What's going on is they are purposely putting out misinformation to keep who is in season 2 under wraps.
Really?
Yes, because we didn't know who the quarterbacks going into the show were until that first trailer dropped. So that's why you're seeing names pop up and like, oh, they're not interested. Oh, it's like, no, you just don't know who they're doing.
So Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson might be on the table.
They try to do it in tiers. You get an elite quarterback, someone who's in the middle, and then someone who's fighting for their life. So here's
what I'll do. I want to go around the horn. I want you to pitch your 3 quarterbacks for season 2 quarterback. So Mike, I'll start with you. Who would you want if you had your choice of anybody in the NFL? Who would you want to see on season 2 quarterback?
If we're doing it with that metric, with one at a high level, one mid, and one fighting, the fighting one is the easiest one for me. That's Baker Mayfield, because he's got the most compelling story in terms of, is he going to keep his job? They named him the starter. He did get in the starter now, but whether or not he's going to constantly be on the hot seat if that team does struggle, that's probably, when it comes to that level of the quarterbacks, the most compelling story. So he's the most interesting one there. The middle of the pack one's a little bit tougher because you got, we've already seen Jared Goff on Hard Knocks 3 times. We've already seen so many of these players. Like I think at this one, the one who interests me a little bit more than some of the other ones is actually like the person who's on the cusp, and that's Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields would be a really
one of my two. That was one of my two, Mike.
For the guy, because he, his career right now can go either way. He could break into superstardom. He could also fall to the bottom. So he's an interesting middle of the pack guy. Of the top guys, just after the past season, the past 2 seasons, everything he went through in college, it's Jalen Hurts. I think he's the most compelling story of all of the top tier quarterbacks right now. He doesn't really have much to prove, but he wants to prove it. And I think that from the competitive aspect, he'd be one hell of a follow.
I'm going to go to you.
So for me, Mike actually took 2 of my 3, so I hate you, Mike. So when you look at, I know this might be a controversial pick for the bottom quarterback, but when I explain the reasoning why, you might understand a little more. I'm going with the bottom quarterback. I'm going with Daniel Jones, because while he did just get top quarterback money, nobody thinks he actually deserves it.
Like we will not argue that on this show.
Yes.
I have said my piece on Daniel Jones multiple times.
What 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions? A high school quarterback could probably come in and do that. So, I mean, yeah, my middle of the pack pick, and this isn't Clevelander coming out in me, but this is just the storyteller in me, because it's Deshaun Watson. If Mike is taking Fields, based on the fact of the controversy, you get to cover a villain also.
If he approached a massage parlor, just cut away.
But you see the cinema aspect of it there, because now, I mean, we know Hard Knocks isn't going to come to Cleveland anytime soon because of that shit.
That's what I was going to say, is like, would people watch that if he's on it?
Yeah.
That's the question.
I think people watch it just because of what could possibly come out of it. It would be the first time he's really in public eye outside of interviews, because that's all we have. We have after camp interviews, after game interviews. That's literally all we have gotten of that man in 3 years. And even then, it's like, you get to possibly go into some of those courtrooms, because there's still a couple cases that aren't settled.
The PR team for Deshaun Watson would really push that. It's like, we need to get your image up.
And that's the other thing. If it could possibly bring his image up, it might bring it down, but it's just the story you can tell with him as that middle of the road quarterback who's still trying to. How big is
Deshaun Watson's TV?
I mean, he lives 10 minutes from me, so I could probably find
Deshaun. Could I see?
No, he literally lives 10 minutes down the road from me. And then if I'm going top of the line quarterback, and this also plays into the Deshaun of it all, Lamar Jackson. Give me 2 quarterbacks in the AFC. You now get to have episodes in there about those 2 head-to-head matchups, and they're really close friends at that too. And Deshaun's contract is part of the reason why Lamar held out for so long. So just that, combining those 2 stories together and having the current Browns quarterback versus the quarterback of the team that was formerly the Cleveland Browns, nice story there. And then if you do take Baker Mayfield, you got the former Browns quarter. Like, hey, just one through line, Browns history.
I do think Baker is the most compelling storyline they can put of anybody on
especially with $12 million going missing right now, Mike.
Yeah.
So for me, lower tier, give me Josh Rosen. No, I'm kidding.
They actually have to be playing chance.
No, so like for lower tier, I'm actually gonna go a different path. I would want to follow a rookie, and I'd pick Richardson. Because I think like Richardson, like being not a great college quarterback and being thrust into a position which we will talk about in a second, that we don't think he's ready for. I think that'd be like a really compelling television.
The Colts.
For mid-tier quarterback, look, call it a homer pick. Give me Kenny Pickett.
You're calling him the mid-tier.
That would be the bottom tier. Let's be honest.
As far as right now, he is the middle tier.
No, not with how this show is set up. He is what they would put at the bottom tier because he had games of flashes. He's the one on the rise. That's why you put him on the. But the middle of the tier is about the guy who's who's not exactly the superstar, but is still a star. So he's not even a star.
He's a star. He's a star.
He's not a star. He's not a star.
Bottom line, Hard Knocks has never come to Pittsburgh. This is my only chance to get some more unfiltered.
Hey, chance, consider that an honor because you want to know why? Pittsburgh has a great history.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because like we're never in a position where we get forced into Hard Knocks. Although I guarantee if we miss the playoffs this year, we will be forced into Hard Knocks next season. That's the only storyline.
No, because if you miss the playoffs and Mike Tomlin is let go, you might have a rookie head coach, which means
he's not going to get let go. You got extended. He's not going to get let go.
I'd be very surprised.
Crazier things have happened. Chance, you know who my second favorite team is as much as I give you shit.
Which means you know this organization. You know they don't fire anybody.
Yes.
As far as top tier quarterbacks, I mean Jalen Hurts is the one I want the most. I become a massive Hurts fan. Top tier. You can't call him top tier. I think Russell Wilson would be like really hilarious to follow for an entire season.
That might be the mid-tier quarterback. I'd
watch. I'm going like guys who are top tier, like legit top tier, like undisputed. Give me. I mean, what happened because we had Hard but Rodgers. Give me Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen would be really fascinating.
That's not a bad choice.
Yeah, but I mean, like the one I really want is Hurts, but if not Hurts, then Josh Allen. All right. Well, speaking of Anthony Richardson and the Colts, the great decisions just continue to pile up because right after naming him the starter for Week 1, they decided to sit him Week 2 of the preseason.
I get it because you just named him the starter.
There's no word on whether or not he's playing Week 3, but he didn't play Week 2. Which we saw this, we're just like, oh my God, have the Colts just like lost their minds?
There is no other quarterback in the league who needs a starting quarterback who needs the reps as much as him.
Actually, you could argue Deshaun Watson does after those last 6 games.
Deshaun Watson too, but even then, like,
but I was about to say even then he's playing 20 to 25 snaps this upcoming week. I agree with you though, Richardson. I get why, because they're trying to protect the investment, and you see it all the time. But the number 2 overall pick started both preseason games, and he's probably going to start the third too, because the Texans realize he's a rookie. He needs that burn. It feels like the Colts are just trying to play for number 1 and then draft my boy from Ohio State.
Harrison.
Yep. Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, his dad was great in a Colts jersey. Why wouldn't he be?
That'd be the most ridiculous strategy I've ever heard. But like,
Hey,
no, like, yeah,
we're
like,
talking about Jim Irsay here.
Yeah, I know.
Aaron,
No, I know. We're not done. We're not done talking Irsay. But point is, if there's any rookie quarterback who needed reps in preseason, it's this guy.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, because out of every rookie quarterback in this class, he's of the talent of the one drafted in like the first 2 rounds. Because I count with Levis in that too. He's the only one who like was not even a great college quarterback. Because you watch like Richard in Florida, like he was decent, he was fine. It's not until like the combine and his pro day that he really started shooting up draft boards. So like even in college, this dude was not like great.
He had flashes, but it was nowhere near anything consistent. His athletic ability is off the charts, but 100%. His football, it was still not. We don't have any gauge to know that that's anywhere up to speed right now.
Yeah, so the Colts just continue to make are continuing this path of making really, really, really bad decisions when it comes to Richardson.
I think they've made really, really bad decisions since Andrew Luck retired, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah, that's actually the most part. Couple with that, again, this is not the last story we're talking about with the Colts. I mean, we're not going to talk about the whale that Jim Irsay failed to save. R.I.P. But they did grant Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade. Jonathan Taylor, again, he had I'm not sure what happened, but there's one interaction he had with Jim Irsay that apparently did not go well. I don't know. I wasn't there. He talked to Jim Irsay, and right after that conversation happened, he requested a trade. To which the Colts and Jim Irsay had the most the weirdest response. He was just like, if I died tomorrow, the league would go on, and Jonathan Taylor. No, if I died tomorrow and Jonathan Taylor left the league, nothing, nobody would care. And just he said some shit like that. I'm just like, Jim, what the fuck are you talking about? So he basically said we're not trading Jonathan Taylor, and this says okay, we're open trading Jonathan Taylor. Does anybody bite on this? Is my question.
No, because the Colts are like, oh yeah, we're open to trading him, but we're also demanding a first-round pick. I'm sorry, but in a league where the Titans couldn't get a second-rounder for Derrick Henry,
right?
The Vikings couldn't trade Dalvin Cook, and no respectable running back since Nick Chubb has gotten an extension. Do you really think a team's going to give up a second or first? You might get a second package with the day 3 pick.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. A second and a fifth.
But realistically, you might be looking at a third and a couple fourths, or a fifth and a fourth. I think
this goes beyond value at this point. I think Jonathan Taylor just does not want to be there.
Here, I will say this, and this is, I think, will be a preview to my rankings. There is a player I purposely did not put on my running back rankings, and it's because he's had a flash in the pan, one good season, and has either been meh or injured in his career. So I'm not going to rank someone in a top 10 who has only had one good season. And he might just happen to be an Indianapolis Colt running back. So
just really showing your hand right there. Okay.
Yeah. So he's one of those running backs who I don't think has even relatively earned the money he's asking for. Barkley has, because anytime Barkley has been on the field, he's been fucking magic. I don't care if he have an injury history. Yes, that's why you put incentive-related things in contracts. That's how you can make something like that work. But I'm not gonna pay someone based off of one good season. You missed all of last season. You missed a good portion of your rookie season.
He didn't miss all of last season. He missed some of last season. He didn't miss all of it.
He missed the majority of last season. He missed the majority of last season.
I'm trying to pull the exact numbers for Taylor real quick. Give me a second.
But and he missed it was okay his rookie year, missed some games, didn't even start most of them.
He missed 6 games last year. He missed 6.
And must have left it injured in the other 10 because it felt like he was non-existent.
It did feel like he was non-existent. I'll give you that.
So, hey, I got no respect for the guy. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, I'll give him this. I get why he wants to trade. It's not so much the money anymore; it's the fact that I just think he genuinely just does not want to play for this organization. Which you don't have to blow to Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
You know, who could
This
use
team-
a good, reliable pass catching option in the running game and a solid running game? Anthony Richardson.
Hey, just look to the future. Oh, wait, they just mortgaged their future on drafting a very mid QB, and now their star player wants out.
The good thing is they still have their first rounder next year.
It's
Hey.
gonna be high. That's going to be a high pick.
And it could be high.
Marvin Harrison Jr., you are an Indianapolis Colt.
The only thing that can prevent that from happening, these Colts-Texans games have serious stakes this season.
But you want to know the thing? The Texans actually have a good, solid foundation.
The Texans are
Surprisingly.
the needle's moving in the right direction. The Colts is
Yes.
moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Now, the Texans obviously are not playing for themselves in that circumstance. It's the Cardinals who will be jumping for joy if the Texans lose that game. But
I can't tell you
the
how
Cardinals
many.
have 1 and 2. That's gonna be the most hilarious thing.
Bro, I can't tell you on Twitter how many fucking Texans fans are like, yeah, we're playing for the number 2. We're gonna probably get finished with the top 2, top 3 pick. I'm like, no, you're not. They're like, yeah, we are. I'm like, you own the Browns pick. Do you really think the Browns are gonna be a bottom 3 team?
No. I don't personally.
not. When you have the Cardinals, the Colts, the Texans playing for the
Raiders.
Cardinals, the Raiders, so many of these teams. Yeah, exactly. There's so many bad teams. The
I
Bucks
think they just forget which pick they traded. I just forget which pick they traded. Because I'll admit, I forget which pick they traded.
I agree 110%. That's why I'm sitting here reminding people, you have the Browns pick. You don't get a top 3 pick.
All right. So, real quick, before we get into our positional top 10s, since Matt's here, we got our perspectives on our own teams during preseason. I do want Matt, because I'm assuming you're watching the Browns preseason games.
Yes, I have been.
Okay, so what's your impression so far
of my team?
The Browns. How are the Browns looking?
I think, if anything, what this preseason has shown is that this may be Andrew Berry's best draft, because Dorian Thompson-Robinson has looked fucking on fire as a 5th round. He looks like he might be the best rookie QB out of this draft class, and he was drafted in the 5th round. My God. DeJuan Jones from The Ohio State University, OHIO. Dude fell because he admitted his first love was basketball. So for some reason, if you admit, hey, my first love wasn't sports-wise, wasn't football, you'll fall from what's considered to be a possible end of the 1st round pick all the way to the 4th. So, hey, and people are really underselling this because I don't know why. They started testing him out at left tackle too. You don't just give a rookie player reps on the other side when your left tackle has been an issue. Like, people are like, oh, it's just practice. You don't take away reps from your backup. So it's either means one of 2 things. He's either going to start pushing Jed Wills for the starting job, or he's going to end up fucking competing to be the first tackle off the bench over homie from Cincinnati a few years ago, James Hudson. There we go. Cedric Tillman has looked great. Luke Whippler, you can see why they said he needed some seasoning, but he's probably going to end up being our 3rd interior lineman. They're going to keep him and Harris. Both can play the guard spot or center, which is their natural position. Katie York is still struggling, but I'm probably one of the few people who believe him. And
look, I've seen what Katie York can do.
Exactly.
If he can just get over whatever the hell is happening, he'll be fine.
But he's a pick from last year. But that's been the biggest issue for us this season is the kicking. The rookie class has just looked amazing. Tillman has looked like a steal, and then you have this guy from the fucking XFL or whatever, Sammy Watkins' cousin Austin, who's been lighting it up in camp. Funny enough, I'm going to camp tomorrow with the purpose of adopting a dog, but I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I'm happy that the starters are getting well, most starters. I highly doubt we see Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett because they're too important. But Deshaun Watson, most of the starting offensive line, they're going to get 20 to 25 plays up against Kansas City, and that'll be a real test. So I'm excited to see that this Saturday 1 p.m. Be sure to check that out, boys. But yeah, it's made me a lot more confident about this season than I was going in. I was around the 9-8 to 10-7 range. I may say 11-6 to 10-7 at the lowest now.
Come on.
What? It's the truth.
No,
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of Mike, cutting to you, Mike. Big week for you guys. Aaron Rodgers making his debut with the Jets finally. He sat out the first preseason game, obviously, because it's fucking Aaron Rodgers. What does he need to do? But still, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers' first experience as a New York Jet. So you excited?
I mean, yeah. And again, this is the Snoopy Bowl, which there is a certain competitive aspect to it against the Giants, but they do kind of take this one a little bit more seriously than some games. But in the end of things, I say this for years. Baltimore just won how many preseason games in a row, and
24.
how many Super Bowls did they win? So, these games, while they mean basically you're looking at your depth with these games. These games do not reflect what the starters are going to look like. 10 years ago, me would have overreacted to preseason. Me at the age I'm at right now, I'm just like, okay, maybe that guy can play special teams. Maybe this guy can fill in at linebacker if somebody goes down. I don't take a lot of preseason too seriously with what's on the field there. It's what's going on the field of practice. It's what's going on the field behind the scenes. Obviously, you're seeing more of that with the Jets. And a lot of teams do have their shows that they have their own shows. I know the Lions have it. The Jets have it. Teams have their own, that they put out themselves where you can kind of see the teams. I don't really pay too much attention aside from injuries, until week 1.
Yeah. I mean, this banner should probably be under Matt's screen, for being completely honest, given what he just said.
Hold on. I literally have the schedule in front of me. I want to tell, just based on, so our starting defense did play the majority of our second game. They played the first quarter or so, and we got a safety. Our secondary defense started last game. Got a safety. The defense looked this past game.
This isn't me like sassy. I'm like legitimately asking. I don't know who you played.
This past game was the Eagles.
Okay, that's right.
And Mariota, who played one of the most atrocious.
Holy shit, Mariota! My God.
Yeah. And then the game before that was the Commanders, and against
Mariota might be relegated to QB sneak duty for the entire season.
Yeah.
I think he gets cut.
You think so?
No, he got paid too much to get cut. They don't. He's safe in that regard.
He's third string then, because I don't think he sees the field.
Not even to avoid Jalen Hurts getting killed.
Yeah, I was about to say you never know. But Chance, real quick, go look at the Browns' schedule. You want to tell me they can't beat the Titans?
Yes.
Stop. Be honest.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure.
We're talking about Ryan Tannehill as a quarterback.
Yeah, but Deshaun Watson didn't look great last season.
Okay, and that was also
independent on what Deshaun we get. Matt, if any team gets propaganda spewed on this show,
it's the Steelers. I know
it's mine.
But Chance, this isn't propaganda. I'm asking you to just think logically for a minute. You did not play the offense you're playing. We have a totally different offense. One, last year the offensive playbook was built around Jacoby Brissett based on the fact that Deshaun was gone the first 11 games. So you're not going to completely shift your offensive playbook in the last 6 games. Your offensive linemen are blocking a different way, all of this other stuff. Now they're blocking with Deshaun in mind. Now Deshaun is starting. Now they've given him weapons like Moore, who is apparently looked like a world beater.
Yeah, Mike, locker room cancer, DJ Moore.
Yeah, not DJ Moore.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, have fun with him.
Enjoy that.
But here's the thing. There's been no reports of him being locker room cancer in Cleveland. I just think
there never were until after the fact in New York either.
Hey, and we're talking about the New York media, who's always been very attacking. Like that. That's
we will talk about the Browns' performance when we get the actual. Let's get to the actual meat of the show. Let's get to our own positional top 10. So basically, the way this worked is we each did our own top 10 for various position groups, and yeah, I compiled the lists. Basically, the position determined on the frequency of players on each list, and also the position of players on each list. So, like, say a player is on all of our lists, but there's players on 2 lists, but higher. The players on all 3 of our lists takes precedence. So that makes sense. All right, so let's take a look at our list. So starting with, excuse me, starting with defensive backs, which is corners and safeties. So number 10, we got J.C. Horn. Number 9, Trayvon Diggs. Number 8, Marshawn Lattimore. 7, Jalen Ramsey. 6, PS2. 5, Darius Slay. 4, Jair Alexander. 3, Derwin James. 2, Minka Fitzpatrick. And number 1, Sauce Gardner. I mean, Sauce was 1 or 2 on all of our lists. So seeing him at number 1, it's pretty much a given. The one I was shocked. I was shocked Surtain was on your list, Matt.
He plays well. I'm not gonna knock just because the rest of his team sucks, especially the offense. I'm not gonna knock one of the best up and coming cornerbacks. Like, let's be honest. There, he is one of the best up and coming cornerbacks. That was a great cornerback draft.
It was, but also like only 2 safeties on this whole list. I'm a little surprised.
That's because the safety position has been kind of trash all across the league.
Yeah, but the standout ones are really good.
Panned out recently.
Yeah, well, not even that. The way safety is played nowadays, they're like an afterthought.
Mm-hmm. That's fair, but still, I mean, I diversified. I had a couple of different. Like, I had Justin Simmons. I had Hufanga from the 49ers. I thought he had a pretty solid season last year.
I'll say this: if this list proves anything to me, it's my Ohio State. I have one Ohio State Buckeye that's about to get hurt. That's on this list, and one Ohio State Buckeye that should be on this list and got hurt because his fucking defensive coordinator is goddamn. I hated that motherfucker so much that I forgot his name.
Oh, Joe Woods.
Yep. Thank you, Joe Woods. I
dare not speak his name.
Joe Woods was a horrible defensive coordinator. If you look at Denzel Ward's stats the 2 seasons before Joe Woods, he was a top 5 cornerback. And yes, concussions and injuries have played a factor into that.
Denzel Ward is like, when he first got drafted as high as he did, I was like, what just happened? But no,
I wasn't, because I'm an Ohio State guy.
Of course you are. You're a homer. But still.
Well, I like I said, I'm an Ohio State guy. But the thing is, I'm saying I got to see him all the time, so I had watched the film on him. I wasn't shocked that he went that high. That is one of the picks that John Dorsey got correct, and there ain't a lot of them in Cleveland. But like, I sit there and I see Lattimore, and I'm like, I hope to God Joe Woods' defense doesn't make him look like he's washed.
And then it did.
No, I'm just saying this upcoming season for Lattimore.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I could easily see a shift of Lattimore's out of this top 10 and Ward is in this top 10 next year.
Yeah, like,
I know who I'd blame.
I'm looking at Trayvon Diggs, possibly fall out of the top 10.
Trayvon Diggs is so volatile compared to everybody else on this list. So
yeah,
honestly, I will admit something. Jalen Ramsey actually was not on my list at all.
What the fuck?
It's like I split it between corners and safeties, and Jalen Ramsey was not one of my corners.
Gotcha.
How?
He had a down year last year. I'm not sure if Jalen Ramsey still like that.
That entire team had a down year. They were on a championship hangover.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to our next one, we're looking at linebackers. So these are purely middle linebackers. So number 10, Eric Kendricks. 9, Tremaine Edmonds. 8, Dre Greenlaw. 7, Bobby Wagner. 6, Matt Milano. 5, Shaq Leonard. 4, Roquan Smith. 3, Levante David. 2, Demario Davis. And number 1, Fred Warner. I will admit, I did like seeing you guys list made me realize how low I had Demario Davis, because like I had him on my list, but I didn't put him in the right spot. I'm just like, Like where did I Mario Davis? Like, oh fuck, 8? No, that's entirely wrong because
that guy
like,
gets better every year. He's like such an anomaly in the league. Like he's been for a hot minute, and every year he seems to improve.
He does.
So Mario Davis traded by the Cleveland Browns for a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, it didn't age well. But still, I mean, yeah, Demario Davis, Levante David, who I talked about on our last show. I think one of the bigger snubs from the top 100. How the fuck was that dude not there?
He's a great player.
Yeah, Roquan Smith, excellent. Shaq Leonard. I mean, Shaq Leonard, I think, is probably the best player on that Colts defense.
Maybe, if they lose Taylor, probably on the Colts, period.
Yeah, probably on the Colts, period.
No, because there's still Quentin Nelson. There's still Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, you're all right with Quentin Nelson.
I would still probably say Shaq Leonard over Quentin Nelson right now. Right now.
I wouldn't say that because their positional value is different.
That's true, but still. So like, anyone you want to shout out who didn't make the list?
Let's be honest. Most linebackers people care about are edges. That's why this list looks like it does.
Fred Warner sticks out on this list. He's the number one. There's no
Demario Davis and Fred Warner. Those are the two that, and Levante David. Those are the two that are the three that people actually think about when you say linebacker. Roquan Smith will pop in there here and there.
Shaq Leonard pop in and out there.
But most people just like, This is one of those lists that it's very literally.
I will say,
yes, this is one of those lists that can probably change with every week of the season.
Potentially. God, I would Pittsburgh. I would love if you got like any one of these guys, just because. God,
y'all are in salary cap hell like us, so that's not happening.
Actually, no, we're not. We have some solid cap space, but that's just say the fact like we haven't had like a really good middle linebacker since Shazier got hurt.
Man, why you? Oh, motherfuckers always got to draft my goddamn Buckeyes.
Yeah, I do miss Shazier. I was speaking of which, let's talk about edge.
Let's go! Let's go!
Yeah, so number 10, Von Miller. Number 9, Brian Burns. Number 8, Matthew Judon. Number 7, Hassan Reddick. 6, Joey Bosa. 5, Max Crosby. 4, Micah Parsons. 3, Nick Bosa. 2, TJ Watt, my Lord and Savior. And number 1, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett barely edging out the other two behind him.
Thank you, Mike. Chance, we're gonna have to talk about.
I actually think I had him in the same spot. No, I'm sorry. I had him at 3. So like I still have him top 3. This is actually my exact top 3. Not in this order, but my exact.
This was my exact top. No, I had Parsons at 3. It was close, but Chance, we're gonna have to talk about you using this photo because you need to stop.
I will never stop using this photo.
As a man of African American descent, you need to stop using this photo.
No, I will say I was watching that game was a blowout. I had it on like in the background, and then that happened, and I'm literally texting everybody I can think of. I'm like, put the game back on, put it back on. You have to see what just happened. You're not gonna believe this shit.
Let's just say there's some covering. There's some covering up about that moment, and I'm still not a fan. I have that on good authority. There is some.
Here's the thing. Like I don't. Again, like I didn't change. Like I don't do this to make fun of Myles Garrett. I do it to praise him. Like, yes, punish the devil.
That moment still rubs me the wrong way because like there are people in Cleveland who have heard things.
Both of our teams have been victimized by Mason Rudolph. Hit him again.
Yes.
Hit him again, Miles.
And I'm sorry, that was the starting quarterback on Monday Night Football, and doesn't have a mic pointed in his direction. Bullshit.
But anyway, okay. But anyways, let's talk about the actual list. Yeah. I think these are pretty consensus. Mostly so we've had 6 consensus picks. I'll talk about our consensus picks. So 1 through 6 were all consensus. Those are the players we all had on our list. The rest of these 2 we each on 2 of our lists. So like Hassan Reddick, Matt Judon, Brian Burns, Von Miller each popped up on 2 of ours. Von Miller just happened to be like at the lower end of both of them. I actually totally forgot about Von Miller. He might have been on my list had I remembered him, but like, yeah, he was just like a non-factor with the Bills, mostly because he did get hurt partway through the season and didn't really make an impact in the playoffs. Von Miller's still pretty excellent though, so I can't get mad at him being at number 10.
I was going to say, like, Judon last year, like, Judon's needle is moving up. And,
It is.
You know, if we do this again next year, you
might
wouldn't
be higher
me if he's in the 5.
Yeah. Also, as much as I hate to admit it, because I think it's slightly overrated. But I do think Michael Parsons could move up this list by the end of next year.
Go all up.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. This is Chance. This is why I asked for clarification, because I feel like edge rushers who are linebackers deserve to be in their own separate category, because they don't go up against as much pressure as someone like a Myles Garrett or Crosby or a Bosa, because those guys are going head on at the offensive line. Edge rusher who's a linebacker is able to position themselves in a way where they can just get right past them if or have better leverage, I guess is a better way to put it.
Most time they're still lining up like outside the DO tackle.
Yes and no, because they can get that extra help from the offensive lineman. So one of them is at least, or not the defense lineman, but one of them has a better chance of getting past. That's why I was like, I want the clarification. Does D-lining?
I think these just also qualify as
yes.
edge. So like these are they also fit.
They all fit. It's just my point is I wish they could separate them, because I feel like some defensive edges or defensive ends don't get the love they deserve because they're overshadowed by linebackers who get a little bit more love because they have a slightly easier time and task.
That's fair. All right, but we will give the D lineman their due, because our next list is entirely D lineman. So number 10, DJ Reader, 9, Christian Wilkins, 8, Big Jeff, 7, Jonathan Allen, 6, DeForest Buckner, 5, Cam Hayward, 4, Sexy Dexy, 3, Aaron Donald, 2, Quinnen Williams, and number 1, Chris Jones of the Chiefs. I see Matt being over there. What's
Jones and Jones over Darnold? The fuck?
Did you see Jones last year?
I am considering this as a complete body of work and not just after one season. We even said the Rams had a down year.
Look, even then, stocks are down on Aaron Donald right now.
I did this as who is right this minute. That's how I did my list.
That's how I did it too. Because like if we're going career, Donald's number 1.
It's Donald 1.
I did factor the last season into it, but in terms of what?
You were still number 1.
Yeah, but here's the thing. At the end of the day, the entire team, Rams players, I had a little bit more forgiveness because of they have enough history the past few years that even in a down year, they normally perform. Last year was just so weird because of all those goddamn injuries, the Super Bowl hangover. It was like they were paying the piper immediately.
Yeah, so on this list,
like he's on the list for me. Like I just didn't have him number 1.
I didn't either. On this list, our consensus picks were 1 through 7. Everything 1 through 7 was we all agreed on. I mean, who had Buckner the high? I think that was Mike. I think Mike had him like 3, which I think is a little. I mean, I don't disagree. I think Buckner's still great. I just think top 5 is a little pricey for him right now, especially when like Quinnen Williams and Dexter Lawrence had like amazing seasons. And he had Cam Hayward, who's always great.
Yeah.
Well, Quinnen at 2, I think is again, it's my team, and I'm not trying to sound like a homer or anything, but I think
even I had Quinnen at 2. Even I had Quinnen at 2.
I had him at my 5, but to me 3 to 5 was one of those things that it depends on the day.
Yeah, and that's totally fair.
Someone I do want to shout out who I'm surprised neither of you guys put him on the list. Vita Vea, my God.
So literally after I sent you that list, the next day I'm like, fuck, I forgot Vita Vea.
Yeah, because I think Vita Vea deserves a place on this list. I think because Vita Vea is like he's one of like the great true nose tackles in the league right now.
Good luck getting past him. Like,
yeah, takes you 3 days to get around that dude. He's large. But yeah, I think this pretty encapsulating this list. Again, I think those people could fall off. I'm definitely looking at DJ Reader. Definitely looking at DJ Reader could fall off this list.
Mhm.
Christian Wilkins too, although Christian Wilkins has been steadily improving over his time in Miami, so he could move up the list as well. And as much as I hate to admit it, Cam Hayward. I mean, look, age is going to catch up to him eventually. Although he seems to be getting better as he gets older. But like, I'm scared at the end of the day when age catches up to him because, yeah, that could be dangerous. All right, moving on to our next one. We're talking about the offensive line, the big boys up front. So, number 10, Wyatt Teller. We'll talk about that in a second. Number 9, Andrew Thomas. Number 8, Laramie Tunsil. 7, Creed Humphrey. 6, Quentin Nelson. 5, Tristan Wirfs. 4, Zach Martin. 3, Jason Kelsey. 2, Lane Johnson. And number 1, Big Trent Williams. So, consensus picks for this one, 1 through 7, caught up on all of our lists. 8 and 9 were on 2 of our lists, and number 10 was a complete out. So like this was the one where like we ran out of like crossovers. I had to go with the highest single pick of any on any of our lists, and that was Wyatt Teller at number 1 on take a guess who.
wow.
Explain yourself.
It's very simple. Last year, Wyatt Teller dealt with injury, but do you remember who the number 1 offensive lineman ranked in the NFL was the previous season?
Trent Williams.
No, interior offensive lineman. Excuse me.
Interior?
That was interior.
Was
No, Joel Bitonio was number 3. Wyatt Teller was number 1 interior offensive lineman. He was the number 1 interior offensive lineman ranked. Not last year because he did get injured, but the previous season. The season before that, he was also top 2, top 3. His 2 years starting before Deshaun Watson and his injury last year, he was a top 2, top 3.
I mean, Wyatt Teller's really good. Wyatt Teller's very good. I'm just like, if you're going to go with the Browns offensive lineman, I would Joe Bitonio. That's the pick.
Hey, Chance, who was my number 2?
Joe Bitonio. I'm just saying switch the 2 because Joe Bitonio would have been on this list.
Because
I nearly thought of putting Joe Bitonio on this list.
Here's the thing. I was trying to show love to my interior guys because everyone always goes with
tackle
the tackles. I want to just make sure some interior linemen.
Well, you say that
are both top 2 or 3 in the game, and on the same team. One of them at least got love.
But then you threw the best center in the NFL at the bottom of your list because that's the only reason. That's the only reason Jason Kelsey is at number 3 is because Matt had him at 10.
Wow.
I factored age into it, but
so
hey,
wait a minute. You factored age into this, but you didn't with Aaron Donald.
Not Aaron Donald.
Nah, I didn't. And here, I also the other thing is I was like I gotta put. To me, I was like, I got to put Kelsey lower because where's Kelsey from, Chance?
Philadelphia.
No.
Cincinnati.
No.
Where's he from?
Cleveland. He went to Cleveland Heights High School. He is a Cleveland boy. So I had to like, all right, let me lower him so I don't.
Didn't it make him higher?
Yeah, I was showing Brown so much love. I'm like, I gotta lower him so I'm not pulling the. You're just repping for Cleveland.
Pay the price.
Exactly.
Okay. I don't understand, but fine. Okay.
Fred Williams, number 1. This one was probably out of all the categories was one of the easiest ones to pick the number 1 outright for me.
100%. Like, Fred Williams is the best offensive lineman in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like hands down. You say that, Matt.
But he's the best left tackle.
No, like, I firmly believe he's the best offensive lineman, like period, in the NFL. Like, if there's any lineman who's the biggest lock for the Hall of Fame, it's Trent Williams. Zach Martin's right behind him, and Jason Kelsey, but it's Trent Williams.
Yeah, but like I said, was just trying to give him some Browns love.
I feel, and well, and like I did something very similar, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, as far as like potential fall offs for this particular list, it's really hard because like I feel like some of these guys only fall off if they were like Jason Kelsey could fall off only if he retires.
He probably will retire, so that's
because I feel like this is Jason Kelsey's last season, so I can see him falling off and like making way for someone else. But like a lot of these guys are still like in their prime, like Larry Tunsil still in his prime, Blaine Johnson still kicking ass. Zach Martin's on the last leg of his career, but he's still doing great. Worf's rookie. Worf's is still in his prime. Creed Humphrey still he's a rookie. Andrew Thomas is just hitting his stride. So like a lot of these guys are going to be like staples of their team for like a long time.
And keep in mind, props to Andrew Thomas because there was a solid 2 years there, which shows you how bad of a coach Joe Judge was. That motherfucker looked like he was about to be a bust.
That's what we said when he got extended. We're just like, yeah, Andrew Thomas looked like he looked like a rock. Like he just couldn't do anything. And Brian Dable came in, turned and just unlocked that elite ability. All right, so moving on to our next list. Let's talk about the running backs. All right, so number 10, Tony Pollard. Number 9, Travis Etienne. Number 8, Aaron Jones. Number 7, Jonathan Taylor. 6, Josh Jacobs. 5, Saquon Barkley. 4, that damn Yalato, Austin Eckler. 3, Derrick Henry. 2, Blue Eyes, White Privilege, Christian McCaffrey. And number 1, Chubby, Nick Chubb.
Nicholas Jamal Chubb, Batman.
Well, no, he's not Batman. We'll talk about Batman. Well, we had a Batman, Jason Kelsey. He's it's like Batman.
Chance, we're gonna have to fight, man.
Philadelphia has the Batman thing, not the Browns.
No, Nick Chubb has been deemed Batman since like his second year in the league, sir.
I've never heard Nick Chubb called Batman, but regardless, okay. Consensus picks on this one 1 through 6. Those are the players that we all had on the list. 7, Jonathan. Look, I hear the criticism about Jonathan Taylor. He had like one amazing year and then kind of just fell off a cliff his second year. Still put up like 800 yards on games. Not awful numbers, but not 2021 Jonathan Taylor numbers either. But still, pretty. I mean, I would say he's still like a top 7 back in the league. I'd still say he's the top 10 back in the league. I know you have a disagreement on this.
I had him at 7, so he's exactly where I put him.
I think I have him at 7 too.
Hey, glad you guys agreed on him because I was not.
I'm sorry, I had him at 9.
See, you barely had him in there. He doesn't count.
he don't count.
So I didn't have Wyatt Teller in there, so he doesn't count.
Hey, I just had to get one of the Browns interior linemen in there. There was just one of those two. I had to get someone.
Okay, regardless.
No,
running backs.
I
will say, I do want to give a shout out to again. I had Najee Harris pretty high on my list, not just a homer pick, but I do think he is a legit top 10 back in the league.
Trent Richardson 2.0 that high? Wow.
No. I see what you're doing. No. Don't throw that out there. Another one
it's true. There is enough film out there to prove this. This dude misses wide open holes.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
You have a guy who in the preseason, like you guys are so hyped up on the preseason, who averaged 62 yards a carry the other night. So
Jalen Warren. I like Warren. I like Warren, but I like him as a compliment to Najee Harris, not as the guy. But another one, I'm not sure you didn't think about it because I think at the time we did this list, he wasn't on a team yet. Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook firmly.
Yeah.
Back.
I think I had him on my list.
No, you didn't.
When I said he hadn't signed yet. So
let me double check.
I didn't. I went back and forth between putting him in over one of the 2 bottom guys that I had. Gotta show him love to some first year running backs. So you are correct.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook, I firmly believe, is one of the most underrated backs in the league. So I think he deserves to be top 10. But that's the rules. I mean, I like seeing Aaron Jones here. I think Aaron Jones is again another underrated back.
That's a super underrated back.
Yes, I actually had him in my number 8, so he's exactly where I had him.
He's one of the least respected guys in the league when it comes to that because he's so consistent.
He is. Yeah, absolutely. As far as like who can go higher, I think Pollard has a lot of potential to go higher, especially running behind that line.
Let's see how he comes back from that injury, though. That's a gruesome injury.
Yeah, that's another
He's
thing.
going to have a nice year. I'm interested to see the Cowboys' backfield with him and Deuce Vaughn. Exactly what you're saying with Pollard. Obviously it's the first time he's ever going to really have the workload he's going to get this year. I think his needle's moving upward, so we'll see.
Yeah, my issues with like McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley are the same thing. Where just like I cannot trust them to stay healthy.
I get that.
Which is why, like, I think like my one was Chubb. My one was definitely Nick Chubb. My 2 was Derrick Henry. And good.
Yeah. Hey, Shane, share my screen real quick. I want to show you something.
Share your screen. No, we're not doing this.
No, I'm just look. I'm just trying to show you something real quick. I think you'll actually find it cool.
I see what you're doing.
This man had an official cereal.
Oh, my bad. I thought something else. Really?
Yeah, an official cereal. He had stories where he opened up about his motivation, love of Batman, and yeah.
I never heard him be called Batman.
Might actually be that one's written by my dad's buddy Nate. But yeah, if you do your research, there's a huge thing about Nick Chubb and Batman. So that's why I said call him Batman.
Well, no, I'm going to talk about actual Batman. Let's talk about wide receivers. So number 10, we got skinny Batman, Devontae Smith. Mm-hmm. Number 9, CeeDee Lamb. Number 8, Garrett Wilson. 7, Cooper Kupp. 6, Stephon Diggs. 5, Swole Batman, AJ Brown. 4, Cheetah, Tyreek Hill. 3, Jamar Chase. 2, Devontae Adams, and 1. This is one of the few lists where we all have the exact number 1, Justin Jefferson. Because how could you not?
How did we not have the exact same 1, 2, and 3, dude? I'm shocked. I thought we would have.
I had Adams low.
I had Chase. I had Chase at 5.
Yeah, I had Chase at 2.
I had Chase at 3. Like that. This is.
I think we all had the same. I think we all had the same top 5.
The top 4 is exactly the same for me. 5 and 6 are swapped, and then my 7 down is what. Because here's the thing. I penalized Kupp for the same reason I penalized Jamar Chase.
I was wrong.
That motherfucker's always injured.
Yeah, I mean, he had some injury history, but like when he's on, he's a fucking.
When he's on, but he's still always injured. Your best ability is your availability, and he don't have that.
Lower, because Kupp wasn't top 5 for me either. So I did have him a little low.
For me, I'd realistically would put him at my 11. But it's only because when he's out for like long periods of time. That's the biggest issue for me.
I had this is the first one. All 10 of these are on my list. The order's a little off, but this is my 10 wide receivers.
I do not stand for the Amari, and this is just me as an Amari Cooper fan. This is actually not a Cleveland Brown thing.
No, I know.
But that man has been consistently a top 10 wide receiver almost every year he's been in the league. And to see Devonta Smith, who's barely done shit, and I love Devonta Smith, be number 10 and not Amari Cooper hurts.
I just think like I would go if I ask me like right now who I'd take, Devontae Smith or Amari Cooper, probably go Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith has such big playability that Cooper doesn't have anymore.
Yeah,
Cooper still has that. Hold on, Cooper.
When you're comparing those two players, Devontae Smith has the bigger playability than Cooper right now.
Yes, I'm just saying, but I'm not gonna penalize Cooper because somebody has bigger playability. Because at the end of the day, who's still putting up the stats? Who's still technically a number 1? Smith is a number 2, being overshadowed by number 5 on this list.
It's because he happens to be on the same team as AJ Brown.
But do we know that officially yet? Because we also thought the same thing about Juju Smith-Schuster. And then when you put him in the position to be a number 1, he showed he's not a number 1. It's Smith.
I mean, he put up good stats in his first year. Where
he put up decent stats. Yeah, he put up decent stats. They weren't world beating, but they were pretty.
Not world beating, but like good stats. Like he was like just under 1,000 yards. I think
it was like 890 or something like that. But he was like around 890, something like that. But that was with that was a weird mixture at wide receiver, or not wide receiver, quarterback, because that was when they didn't start Hurts till later in the year, correct?
No, that was Hurts first season, first full
Okay, that
season
was
start.
okay. But either way, I went with someone who is a number one to me because, dude, does he disappear at times? Yes, but does he still put up number one receiver stats? Is he still the number one receiver? He was still 1A when CD Lamb was there. He was 1A, and then he was injured, and that helped CD eclipse him as 1A. So
I mean, the one I would say should be here is Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, I think, is a fucking stud.
Yeah, here's the thing. Wide receiver there's a reason it's now the second highest paid position in this league, or arguably second highest paid position, because in defensive and the edge position are paid almost identical numbers now. There's a reason for that, because quarterback, wide receiver, edge are the three most important positions in football. All these guys are talented. And this might be why Cooper Kupp might not actually be my 11 now I'm thinking about it, because I would still put Smith over Kupp because of the fact of your best ability is your availability. You mentioned Waddle. Waddle I'd put in that same category. Like
was Waddle that injured? I can't remember.
He just missed part of his rookie year because he came in. He was drafted injured.
That's right. He was drafted off an injury.
But I'm not gonna nail him for that because that injury happened.
Actually, no. He only missed one game his rookie year.
You only missed one game. Okay. I just remember he got drafted injured, and there's questions about him being able to play going into the start of that season. So if you only missed one game, good. Point being, I'm not going to knock him for an injury that happened in college. I'm basing this off of NFL production and everything. So and that's why now you just added more fire to me knocking Kupp down that list, because I would take so many other younger receivers who if we're going to put Devonta Smith in there or because of his big playability, at least he stays healthy and has the big playability.
Well, let the record show. Shout out to Garrett Wilson being a rookie and already being in our top 10.
Yeah. Be prepared in the next 3 to 5 years. The top 5 wide receivers, 4 of them will be Ohio State Buckeyes.
I was going to say, just getting past that, the one person who I contemplated throwing on there, who I think next year, if we do this again next year, keep your eye on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. Another one I'd take over Kupp.
Okay, come on. I think, okay, so looking at this, I think, a lot would have to happen for Jefferson to lose his number one spot.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if we do this again next year and Justin Jefferson is still at number one. That being said, I think to move the highest on the list, I think Garrett Wilson has especially with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback now. I think that Garrett Wilson has prime.
His ceiling moved up the highest from last year.
Yeah,
I think
only thing is it's the top 5 are all fucking studs, so it's hard. It's gonna be hard to knock off one of them.
Here's the thing. I think 4 of these top 10 can easily take a fall. Devontae Adams could take a fall strictly because of his quarterback being Jimmy fucking G.
Great.
Diggs can take a fall. Age could catch up with them. There seems to be trouble brewing in Buffalo. Yep. Cooper Kupp can take a fall.
I think didn't D.A. Smith say Stephon Diggs wants out?
And then Stephon Diggs came out afterwards.
He's refuting it.
Wrong. Yeah. But you know how that goes. Kupp, again, he's so injury prone, he could take a fall. And honestly, depending on how Dak plays, CD could take a fall too.
Yeah, agreed.
So, and if we're talking about receivers to watch out for, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Chris Olave, because Chris Olave,
he could break out this year. I agree with that.
He was top 3 for offensive rookie of the year voting, and that's why I said,
I think.
Yep.
Yeah, he started.
So that's why I said in the next 3 to 5 years, because you're going to have Wilson, Olave, Smith-Njigba, because he was Harrison, and then you could have Emeka Egbuka could be coming out, and then
well, no, it's gonna be George Pickens. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. We can talk about that right now.
Chance, I probably would have, if we did a top 15, he probably would have been in there. I have him on multiple fantasy teams.
So I mean, I got him my dynasty. Go Pickens. All right, and finally, our last list we're talking about our top 10 quarterbacks. So number 10, Matt
Nice
Stafford.
picture for 3.
9, number 9, Jared Goff. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence. 7, Aaron Rodgers. 6, Lamar Jackson. 5, Justin Herbert. 4, Jalen Hurts. 3, a pansy ass. 2, Josh Allen. And 1, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, this is the only other list where we all have the exact same number 1 because Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football right now.
Joe Burrow is right behind him, and I'm saying that as someone who doesn't like the Bengals, but I do like Joey B. Doesn't mean I rooted for him. I'm not that kind of fake-ass Cleveland fan. But Josh Allen has almost as many interceptions as he does touchdowns. Joe Burrow does not.
That's because like Josh Allen's first couple of years were fucking rough.
I don't care. Look what Joe Burrow has done with a piss poor offensive line.
And look, I will disclose. This is exactly where I had actually the top 5 is exactly how I had it. This is exactly
that is my top 5, but I swapped 3 and 2 and 5 and 4.
Didn't you have Hurts at 2?
I might be.
No,
I might be.
Mike had Hurts at 2.
Yeah, I had Allen.
Based on just last season, I would have Hurts at number 2. But judging based solely on last season.
I will say this: I am the type of guy where pure QB play still has a factor over how I rank players, because there's a reason I knocked down Hurts and Jackson. I do think Hurts is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. I think he throws a better ball than Lamar Jackson.
He's a better. He throws the ball better than Lamar Jackson. No, absolutely. I will not dispute that.
So that's why I was like Hurts. I'll put him at 5
because like
Herbert, I think, ends up with an MVP in the next year or two. He's the
classic.
He is the classic quarterback. He is the prototypical quarterback. And I think people forget that the only reason he went down in the draft is because they're like, well, why did he go back to Oregon?
Right. He would have been number 1 if he went out a year earlier.
And people like,
we talked about that on our what if episode. You can look at that on the channel.
People knocked him for that. And guess what? He is arguably the best QB out of that fucking draft.
I mean, it's a hell of a draft. It's a hell of a draft.
So
like, that could go down like maybe the best QB draft of all time. Like up there with like the 04 draft.
So, I mean, Herbert and I just think is at the same level as Allen, a step below Burrow, and Burrow is a step below Mahomes. But like,
there's only like a certain degree of difference between like the top 5 guys. Like it's like a very small degree of difference.
Well,
between the top 5 guys.
For me, it's top 4. We all have the same 5.
Yeah.
Actually, I will say we all had the exact same 8. Like the top 8 in all our list was the exact same people.
No, they're not, because 9 and 10 would not be there.
No. Like
our top 8. Sorry,
top 8. 1 through 8 were all the exact same.
I've been up since 5 in the morning, Chance. I'm sorry.
That's all right. 9 and 10, literally every single one of us had a different set of quarterbacks. The reason they ended up being Jared Goff and Matt Stafford, I threw it to our non-president host, Jacob Blundham, said, like, okay, I'll give you a list of these 6 quarterbacks, name the best 2. And this is what he said.
Matt Stafford being there is fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Matt Stafford's still good.
Is he?
Yes.
He had back. No, I'm saying this because part of his injury last year was back issues and arm issues. So I'm not gonna sit here and say he's still good. I need to see him play this year.
In just assuming he's healthy, a healthy Matt Stafford is still a top 10 quarterback. I'll go to bat for him.
Top 15. I won't go to bat.
I had Matt Stafford on my list.
Here's the again. That's a guy where he he plateaued just at the right moment. He got his Super Bowl. Everyone was rooting for him. Even I was rooting for him. But I still wouldn't put him in my top 10.
I know because I have your top 10. I know who you put there.
Realistically, 9 and 10. 9 and 10 is just a decent amount of options for me, and that was just a crapshoot. So
there
I
were
went
so
with,
many players
with
so
hope.
close in that.
Well,
that
again,
area
this also I think has a lot of room to change because like there are quarterbacks who would have been on this list a couple of years ago who are not here. Like I'm looking at Russell Wilson, looking
Deshaun
at
Watson.
Yeah,
because if it can get back to like their like peak form, this list is a lot harder.
Russ doesn't look like he will, but Deshaun does.
Well, no. Drew Brees is a camp. Drew Brees is a camp, so maybe Drew Brees can talk some sense into him.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at what I saw from the Denver preseason games. Russ looks cooked. No. Let Russ cook. Russ looks cooked.
I think we talked about this. This is the line he's working with is somehow still really bad.
Yeah, but at the same time, when he had a bad line in Seattle, he's still cooked.
No, I agree. So, but but like he was still like in a system he's comfortable with. Here he's going to a new system with a bad line and also a bad coach. His first year. I'm not talking about Sean Payton. I'm talking about Nathaniel Hackett.
I know, but look at a lot of other QBs who have changed teams.
Well, there's one right there, Matt Stafford.
Yeah, but my point is, look, Matt still performed well with not so great coaching.
Hey, Sean McVay's a good coach.
I'm not talking about Sean McVay. I'm saying in his years in Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. My bad. I was sorry. I misunderstood. But okay, yeah. So I do think So like this one could
normally, yeah, good QBs outperform bad coaching normally.
But yeah, it's gonna be hard to like unseat one of the top 5 on this list, but the rest could be up for grabs. Bottom line, I think 8's gonna be hard to break into. 9 and 10 are open for next year. Looking at
Honestly,
you, Kenny, break into this list.
Colin Morris, if you're watching this, you're gonna hate me. I think Lamar Jackson has a chance to fall out of the top 10.
He does. I mean, like if he has a similar injury history, it does. And
it's not even about injury history. He finally has weapons, as they want to say in Baltimore. But at the end of the day, if he can't bring himself to throw it instead of run it, it's still going to be the same old shit. And the running back conversation is going to pop up, as it always does. And Baltimore fans don't like hearing that because they say he's proven at this point that he's not a running back.
Yeah. Now look, another one I will throw out there, and I don't like admitting I do love this guy, and I don't think he will fall off, but like Jalen Hurts is also trying to fall out top 5 just because look,
I agree with that.
Because like he's just now getting that elite level. We'll see if he can stay there. I think he will.
He lost his offensive coordinator, and there's a lot of people who were saying Sirianni's not a good coach, and that he was held up by his OC and his DC, and both of them are gone.
Yeah, I mean DC might be a benefit because Rich Gann is kind of the reason they lost the Super Bowl. But yeah, Jalen Hurts is. If anyone could fall out top 5, I think it's going to be Hurts, but I don't think he will. I think he's that good.
Yeah, I think we could see Fields in here next year. That's who I had as my number 8.
Fields can stop being the 58-minute man. If you can stop being stop doing these like dumb things in the last 2 minutes in the game, then he'll be all right.
See, but again, you want to talk about Russ having a bad line. That line in Chicago the last 2 years has been dog shit, and they've went out of their way to make sure they remedied that this year.
It did.
So
it did.
And what he's played in preseason, he has looked on another level.
T-Law, I'm saying Jeremy in the chat. T-Law being top 5, I could see it happening.
Yes, I agree.
He's fine for a breakout this year.
He is. Like I've seen a lot of like Trevor T-Law MVP. Could happen. Jag schedule pretty light.
Like that's not something I would call like a major, a minor surprise, yes, but like an upset with what he has going for him. He's almost at that plateau already. So yeah, that's not something that would be like earth shattering if it happened.
Jeremy, I'll push back. I love you, buddy, because I love how you support everyone's shows, and you're probably one of my favorite supporters in this community. I do not think Tua can even get in the top 10. I think he is like a product.
If Tua's brain is not soup, that already makes him top 10 in my opinion.
Because they thought he got concussed on the
walking makes him elite.
They thought he got concussed in the first series of his preseason game. Like it was dangerous. I was of the opinion he possibly should have considered retirement this past offseason, because to have 3 concussions in a single season is fucking dangerous. And to come back.
So is it on a scale of 1 to danger, which how dangerous is it?
It's spicy.
It's Baker Mayfield waking up feeling dangerous.
All right.
So those it is the sauce from Cheaper by the Dozen dangerous.
Oh no, don't bring that up. What? Matt, no.
Is this from the New Cheaper by the Dozen? Is from the New Cheaper by the Dozen?
That you can no longer watch.
Thank goodness you can't watch it.
What happens? Like I don't. Okay, you tell me off air or don't. I want to.
We'll tell you after this. You can't watch it anymore. You can't watch it anymore.
I'll find a way. But
don't.
That's the end of the show, everybody. Matt, thank you for joining us. Where can people find you at?
You can find me over at Watt Real Entertainment. Our review for Ahsoka dropped incredibly late. I'm sorry, Paige. I love you. Dropped incredibly late because I had a rough day today. And so you can go check out our review of the first 2 episodes. It's on the channel now. Again, apologize to Paige for Betty, who was wonderful enough to come do that review with me. Go check that out. Review of Gran Turismo should drop at some point tomorrow or early Thursday afternoon. So be sure to check that out as well. And yeah, this is the rough time for movies and television, so trying to figure out what content I'm gonna push, because there ain't really shit coming out for the next month.
Mike, where we find you at?
You can find me here every Tuesday night, and as well you can find me on What the Show on every Wednesday.
And if I'm Twitter, Instagram, and Chance what's going on anyone, check out Notorious by Chance, the podcast. Our Magic double feature should be out within the week. I had to bolt out of town, so we didn't get a chance to record before I left. So we're trying to get that done probably tomorrow. So we'll get that out soon. And yeah, that's gonna do it for us here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.
Holy shit!